I'm delighted to be with Tor Portes from CrowdwithUs. Tor, you've sourced or been involved in 40 plus deals. Rather than me steal your thunder, do you want to let the listeners know a little bit more about yourself and CrowdwithUs?
Yeah, hi Brendan. Hi everyone. Yeah, as you mentioned, Brendan, I've done over 45 deals so far. I can't remember the exact amount, but they're in and around London in the southeast. And we've been operating for the last 7 or 8 years. So we've set up CrowdwithUs as an extension of the business model that we've been carrying out the last 7 to 8 years, whereby we use a collaborative approach. So we work with investors and developers, property sources on the deal side, and we work with investors on the funding side, and hence, CrowdwithUs.
Sure, Tor, we're going to look at in this video how to do deals in this market right now. So what would your top 3 suggestions be to people who are listening to this video, whether they're coming along this Thursday evening or not, or whether they're coming to a future meet, how to do deals in this particular market?
Yeah, so I guess to answer that, Brendan, the first thing would be to pick your area. So it has to be practical for you to do the deals, or you've got someone else to help you.
And your focus in terms of geographical location is London Southeast within M25. Have I got that right? Or
Yes, we've always invested in London and the southeast. I did dabble in the northern market when I first started. Most of those properties were sold, and they're still the same value as they were 7 or 8 years ago. Yet, properties have nearly doubled in London, the deals we've done here. So the other thing to do is you need to work extremely hard. Deals don't just fall off the tree. Even if you're working with sources, you still need to analyze the deals and check the numbers yourselves. And the third answer would be, the strategy that you're using. So if you want to make cash flow fast, then obviously the buy and hold strategy is not going to generate short-term income. So if you want immediate income, it's about flipping deals. And in London, the southeast, and up north for that matter, now that stamp duty has changed, if you're doing a chunky deal, often the increase in stamp duty and also the amount of extra cash you need, if you're using finance, it sort of affects the profitability of deals. So we're often doing joint ventures down here to flip deals.
So I lost you in the last bit. I understood you talk about flipping deals, but just to summarize that last sentence, which sounded so key. You mentioned Manchester. Can you just summarize that last point again?
No, I didn't mention Manchester.
Oh, sorry.
I mentioned about if you're flipping deals to generate short-term income, then often doing a joint venture will circumnavigate a lot of costs, like the increased stamp duty that's being slapped on property by the government and the increased finance costs. You generally need a bigger deposit now to buy a property. So it often is more beneficial to do a flip deal as a joint venture if you can structure that with the owner.
Okay, that's interesting, because I have seen people who I know who are doing flips as JVs. And one of them I saw on Facebook last night, and in fact, they're presenting for me in about 10 days, well, 15 days time, or whenever you're listening to this video, they're presenting for me in early March. So that's interesting. You're mentioning, so you think people more like, you see a trend in that particular market tour of people doing flips with JVs?
Yeah, they're not the easiest deal to put together, Brendan. You've got to be skilled at the, negotiating and building, the owner's confidence that you can carry out the development and, achieve the results that you're putting forward. They're certainly more profitable if you can structure a deal like that, because you bypass a lot of the costs.
The tour, this coming Thursday evening, I know you're on a panel. We're going to be focusing on sourcing. That's one aspect. We're going to be looking at crowdfunding, both from yourself, who's created a platform, and also from an end user point of view, who's managed to get a deal through another crowdfunding platform. And also one of her strengths is interior design, stroke staging. So we've got Carolina, we've got yourself, we've got Eric Hughes, who strength is in terms of service accommodation, development as well. So, and Ranjan Bhattacharya, as Julie Hogbin said on the Facebook Live last night, I was listening to, what he doesn't know in the 25 years plus investing experience isn't worth knowing. And that's just a panel, and that's just part of the evening. Plus, as I say, we've also got the project or landmark projects they're called, who are going to be presenting on how they've sourced and developed over £10 million worth of developments in the UK over the last 2 years. So huge thanks for you joining us, Tor. Look, I'd love to do a long interview, and I'm sure I will do at some point. I would ask my listeners to do me one big favor, though. Look, it's great for me to ask Tor all these questions. I'd love to know what questions you want me to ask Tor, because maybe I can. Often these are short, snap, quick videos, and I'd like to do a much longer, in-depth video. Because to be fair, I learned something from Tor just this morning within the last couple of questions. And there's a lot more to learn as well, which Tor probably takes for granted, but not all of us do by any stretch. It's interesting you're looking at what trends are taking place right now. So I just want to say huge thanks for your time. I look forward to catching up with you. How can people catch up with you who aren't on or aren't based in London, who may not be necessarily coming down to London this Thursday? Is there a website or Facebook or?
Yeah, you can catch up with us at CrowdwithUs.London if you're looking to invest, and if you're a developer, property sourcer, then it's developwithus.london. And of course, hopefully, you can make it on Thursday night and bring your questions.
Okay, brilliant. Huge thanks to yourself, Tor. Huge thanks to our listeners as well.
Thanks, man.
Thanks for the moment.